Yo, what's up everyone? Crypto Henry here, and today I want to debunk a narrative that people have been talking already for years around the crypto industry. And what I want to debunk is the argument that Bitcoin spends too much energy or too much electricity. And the thing is, yeah, Bitcoin spends quite a lot of electricity, but there are many other things that also spend a lot of electricity. It's not about how much electricity Bitcoin or computer games or tumble dryers or holiday lights or the aviation industry or cars. It's not about how much energy it spends. It's about how useful these things are. And some people compare, oh, Bitcoin, but Bitcoin spends as much energy as the country of Argentina or Ireland. Look, Bitcoin is not a country, and there are many industries that spend 20 times more than the country of Argentina. And in this video, I want to show you some numbers, some facts, because we need to compare apples to apples, not apples to oranges. Bitcoin is not a country. Bitcoin is the most energy efficient financial industry in the world. And in a minute, I will show you why do I say this, okay? And let me start here with a couple of charts. I will leave the links to these articles in the resources section. By the way, some of these articles are from 2022, from 2021, and I think one of the articles is also from 2020. But I think they put into perspective the Bitcoin energy consumption. And in this one here, people are talking about, again, comparing Bitcoin to other countries. But again, Bitcoin is not a country, and saying like basically Bitcoin produces kind of approximately as much as Chile and Bangladesh. We go to this one here and shows that Bitcoin consumes as much as like Argentina, Norway, and here you see Argentina consumes 121 terabytes of energy. And keep this in mind, just for the articles that I'm going to share with you in a second. Have here again like Bitcoin compared with other countries, which is totally useless. And what I want to look at is Bitcoin compared to other industries. Here in this chart, it compares Bitcoin to the energy consumption of other things that we use in our daily lives. Bitcoin compared to domestic tumble dryers. Bitcoin, at least when this study was done, consume almost half of tumble dryers, less than data centers, way less than air conditioning and electric fans, way less than aviation and transportation. Look, for people that criticize that Bitcoin spends too much energy, we need to look at the use case. How useful is Bitcoin? Because I can say, hey, tumble dryers are really useless because I just prefer to naturally dry my clothes. It's a luxury. Tumble dryers are really a luxury. Air conditioning is a luxury. Can you survive? You can sweat a little bit? You need to have the air conditioning? Look, there are people that need way more Bitcoin to keep their savings and to transfer money around the world, then some people need air conditioning. That's really a luxury. Okay, this one. Let me see if I can open in a new tab to see bigger. Here we see Bitcoin consuming 220 terawatts hour, while holiday lights, Christmas lights consume as much as Bitcoin. Well, I would argue that Christmas lights are way more useless than Bitcoin. Well, is there anyone that thinks that Christmas lights are more useful than Bitcoin? Computer games spend more energy than Bitcoin. Gold mining, of course, like healthcare is an important thing. Aviation, people need to travel. Shipping is important. But look, finance in industry spends 5,000 terawatts hour. That's 20 something times more than Bitcoin. But the finance industry cannot do what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin is the largest, most secure, and most decentralized open financial network in the world. With Bitcoin, you can send money across the world and spend like $1 transaction fee, and it's the most secure way. If I want to send $1 billion or $1 million or $100, whatever is the amount, if you send it over the Bitcoin network, is really the most secure network that humans ever created, and this has a price, and of course it consumes some energy, but it consumes way less energy than the traditional financial industry. Let me just show you this one. Was on the news last year. There was already a few transactions like this. People send a few $billion across the Bitcoin network and pay just like under $1 transaction fee. Look, go to your bank and try to send any money, any international transfer. If I send money between countries, usually I pay like $30 transaction fee. If you go to a remittance agent like Western Union or MoneyGram, they charge you 10% fee of whatever the money that you are sending. And these things are not guaranteed. It already happened to me trying to send international bank transfers and they fail, and the money is lost in the limbo for 1 or 2 weeks and then come back to my bank account minus transaction fees that I need to pay to the bank for the transaction that failed. But in the Bitcoin network, I can send $2 billion and pay less than $1, and it's going to be super secure, because for the Bitcoin network, it doesn't matter if the transaction that you are sending is $2 or $2 billion. Bitcoin doesn't care who you are. Bitcoin doesn't censor. Bitcoin doesn't discriminate, and is the most secure network ever created. Here also in August 2020, a Bitcoin transaction worth $1 billion was recorded with a nominal fee of $4. If you go to a bank and try to send $2 billion, the transaction fee will be like over $1 million. So when you want to compare the Bitcoin energy consumption, you need to compare with other industries. And I would say that Bitcoin is way more efficient sending money securely, because it can send money securely across the world for only 220 terawatts, while the financial industry needs almost 5,000 terawatts to send money securely across the world, and is not as efficient as it is Bitcoin. And again, if you don't like Bitcoin, then you should not drive a car. You should not have air conditioning. You should not have a tumble dryer. You should not use Christmas lights. You shouldn't play computer games, because even computer games spend more energy than Bitcoin. Now it's everything about the use, right? It's everything about like, is there a need for this technology or not? Is there a need for Christmas lights? Not really, but people like it, they enjoy it. Okay, then use Christmas lights. Is there a need for computer games? Well, not really, but people enjoy it. Is there a need for tumble dryers and air conditioning? Well, not really, but people like the comfort. And is there a need for Bitcoin? And the answer is yes, there is a need for Bitcoin, because with Bitcoin, I can send any amount of money across the world. I can send money to Nigeria, to Venezuela, to the US, and pay a very small transaction fee. It will take a few minutes or 10 minutes to arrive to the destination, and I can be 100% sure that the money is going to arrive. 100%. While in the financial industry, traditional financial industry, is not that simple, not that easy, not that cheap, takes time, and they spend way more energy than Bitcoin. So if actually people leave, everyone in the world closes their bank accounts and start using Bitcoin and crypto, the world will be way more sustainable and spend way less energy than what we are spending now. Bitcoin is in some countries the only alternative that people have to hedge against inflation, because maybe if you are in a rich country, inflation is not really hurting you that much, because inflation is like maybe 10% these days. But if you go to Argentina, to Venezuela, to Nigeria, to Turkey, to Lebanon, to Zimbabwe, and so many of these countries that have over 100% inflation, then Bitcoin is actually a very good safe haven. If you go to Ukraine, that started the war, and maybe the banks started to freeze the bank accounts, and people didn't have a way to move their wealth, maybe having money in Bitcoin is actually a very good solution. To my friends, I actually have a lot of friends in Nigeria, and Nigeria is one of the countries in the world with the highest crypto adoption. Over 20% of the population use crypto to do payments, to actually pay for things, to do international transfers and so on, because their banking system doesn't work well. And Bitcoin works way better than the Nigerian banking system. So for these people, it's actually there is a way better use case than for some people using just computer games or air conditioning or Christmas lights, right? Because they really can rely on the Bitcoin network to do international transfers, to pay for goods and services when their financial system doesn't work. So yes, I would say that the energy that the Bitcoin network uses, it's very well used. Now, of course, if we can use renewable sources, more green energy, of course, it's positive. It's even better. I'm not saying that we shouldn't care about energy consumption. Yes, energy consumption, sustainability, environment, they are extremely important. But before talking about Bitcoin energy consumption, before trying to cancel Bitcoin, maybe you should cancel your bank account. Maybe you should stop using air conditioning. Maybe you stop playing computer games because all those things spend more energy than Bitcoin. All right, guys, if you agree with me, give it a like. If you don't agree, let me know in the comment section. And as always, I will see you tomorrow.